Hi, James here from Wiggle. You've probably found yourself here because you're looking for the best GPS smartwatch that gives you the most bang for your buck. And you're in the right place because today we're going to be having a look at the tech-filled GPS smartwatch, the COROS PACE 2. So here we have it. This is the second generation of the COROS PACE, and they actually market this as their entry-level GPS smartwatch, but it comes with so much tech in it that it's probably got more than you'd expect. And especially as it comes in with a price tag under £180. This is the first time I've used a COROS smartwatch, and in such a highly competitive smartwatch market, they've got a lot to live up to. But I really do think this is going to be a really great option for lots of you out there, so let's deep dive and have a look at some of the features it has to offer. So the first thing you realise is when you get the watch out of the box, it feels like it weighs next to nothing. And my first reaction, and it's what I'm kind of used to, is the fact that a heavy watch is an expensive watch. But in reality, I really don't think that's what I'm looking for, as when I'm wearing this watch, I truly do forget that it's on my wrist. And with a heavy watch, when you take it on and off your wrist, you really do notice when it's there and when it isn't. But as I said, you do really forget whether this is on or off. Coros have actually stated that this was the lightest GPS smartwatch in the world on its release date. So I'm not sure if something's overtaken it now. If you know what it is, let us know in the comments. So now let's get the old trusty kitchen scales out and weigh the watch and see what it actually comes out at. So we're going to be weighing this with the silicone band, which is the heavier one out of the two, and we'll talk about the other nylon band later on. So let's see how much this comes out at. Just 36 grams. So that just shows how lightweight this thing actually is. So the watch is noticeably really quick to use when jumping around through the menu system and when in and out of activities too, and that's because it's had some really nice hardware upgrades. And this is because it's got 1.5 times more processing power and 4 times the RAM of the original PACE watch. So like I said, that allows the watch to run really seamlessly, but most importantly, when you're in an activity and the watch's processor and RAM are being pushed to the limits, you're still not going to get any lag if you need to change anything on the watch. And we all know the last thing you need, for example, is to be looking down at a watch that isn't running as quickly as you are. As well as this, it comes with 4 times the storage of the original PACE, which is obviously just going to let you store 4 times the data like activities, training plans and navigation, for example. So the watch features a 1.2 inch 64 colour 240 by 240 pixel display. And I've got to say I really like it. It's really visible in and outdoors without the backlight on. And although 64 colours really does seem quite minimal, it seems to be a really good range of colours. And you can see this as there's no obvious banding from the orange to the pink in that colour fade on the clock there. So that display is covered by a scratch resistant piece of glass, but it's not the well-known Gorilla Glass that we're used to, but it's an American brand called Corning. And as you can see from my few weeks of testing, the screen is in absolutely immaculate condition still. So as far as I can tell now, it's just as good as the big players out there. So the bezel isn't obviously made from a high-end titanium or a shiny polished stainless steel, but that would obviously make the watch more expensive and into a heavier unit. So they've made it from a fiber reinforced polymer instead. So although this has held up really well over the last few weeks that I've been wearing it, you can see that the matte finish has kind of shined off a little bit in a few tiny areas. So I'd expect over a year's use that it's going to shine off a little bit and not look brand new, but then that's probably going to be the case with any of these styles of smartwatches. So the whole watch is in a nice compact package, and it's only 42mm wide by 11.7mm deep. So physically that's going to fit pretty much everyone's wrist size, and visually I think it looks pretty good on my very average size male wrist. So the watch has ANT+ and Bluetooth connectivity, which is incredible to see, especially at this price point, which is really handy if you're going to be connecting it to multiple devices, which can be, again, really useful if you're cycling, for example. So if you've ever used a Coros pod or a Stride pod and want to get power readings from your running, it can do this internally inside the watch, straight out of the box, which is a really nice touch, again, at this price point. It has basically every sensor that you'd need in it as well. So it comes with obviously an optical heart rate monitor, a barometric altimeter, an accelerator, a compass, a gyroscope, and a thermometer in there too. So again, it really is packed with most of the stuff you'd need, and especially at that price point, like I'm going to say many times in this video. It comes with a water rating resistance of 5 ATM, which equates to 50 meters deep, which should be more than plenty for most of us using this in pools or out in the ocean. So one of the main features people want from a smartwatch is incredible battery life, and this has that too. It's almost too good actually, because you forget to charge it. So this thing lasts for a whole 20 days in normal smartwatch connected mode, which is pretty fantastic. And I've actually found out a way to maximize this and potentially make it last even longer in the menu system here. So when you hold down the bottom right hand button, it takes you into the menu system, and there's a whole menu devoted to battery usage, which I really like. So you can go into that. So when you first click into that, you can go in there and it shows you a graph of your general decrease in the battery over the days that you've been using it for. And then you can scroll down and it shows you a whole host of interesting facts about how you've been using your battery and how long you've got left. But it also interestingly tells you what the percentage of battery has been used on since the last charge. So as you can see here, most of it is being used on daily heart rate, which I obviously want to keep on because that's a feature that I really like to have on. But for the first few weeks when I was using it, I could tell that I was using a lot of energy on the backlight. And that's probably because I was fiddling with the watch a lot more than I do now. But also if you scroll down to the bottom, you can actually see that I've had over 1,000 notifications come through from my phone to the watch face. And every time that happens, the backlight actually lights up. So there's a setting where you can change the notifications to not light up the watch face, which I think in turn saves a lot of battery. So when using the watch in full GPS tracking mode, it's going to last for a whopping 30 hours. So that should be plenty for most of the long extended endurance sports that we're going to do out there. But if you're looking to do more than that and looking to do a multi-day ultra, for example, then the watch has a Ultra Max mode, which gives you 60 hours of GPS runtime. So again, that should be plenty for most of us. So not only does it last for such a long time, but it charges super quickly as well. And Coros claim that you can get from 0 to 100% in 2 hours. But I've actually found that if you just put this thing on charge for half an hour, you can get almost half battery with it. So if you're ever running late and you've forgotten to charge it, then a quick charge before your activity is usually going to do the trick. Or if you're driving, just charging in your car is going to do more than enough to get you through the activity. So one reservation I had for basically the whole Coros system was this rolling button and then just the other individual button that it came with. And I had no idea whether I was going to love this or hate this. So visually to me, before I got it, and even when it's in my hand, it just looks like it's going to be a super fiddly unit to control. But I actually think it's brilliant. So this one roller button acts as essentially 3 buttons. So it's an up, a down and an enter. So with that 3 button action and the extra button at the bottom, that's going to give you 4 buttons, which essentially is the same as most other smartwatches out there. But I actually really like the action of scrolling up and down, and it just feels really similar to scrolling up and down on a mouse. I feel like it's actually an easy system to use as well, as you don't have to squeeze the watch to press the buttons on the other side. And just with one finger, you can easily just scroll up and down without putting any pressure on the watch itself at all. So it's just a nice intuitive system, and I'd say it's just another win there from Coros. So a smartwatch can only really be as good as the app that goes with it. And the new Coros app, with all its many updates over the last year, and I'm sure there's going to be many more coming in the future, is actually really quite good now. So the first thing I really like is if you just want to resync everything between the watch and the phone, you just have to do a quick pull down screen refresh, and then it automatically just resyncs everything so it's all up to date. Then the home screen gives all your basic stats over the last 24 hours. So it gives you your active energy, your exercise time, steps, heart rate, your sleep analysis, as well as the workouts that you've done. Then you can click on the next tab and it just shows the list of workouts that you've done through the watch. And these obviously all auto-update to Strava or any of the main apps that you want to use. So if I click on one of these activities like this run in the snow I did, which is quite rare for England, so you can see it breaks the data down into these main stats at the top. But when you scroll down, you actually get these really nice graphs for more intricate data like the pace, the cadence, the stride length, and so forth, which is actually a really nice breakdown of your whole activity. But then another feature that I really like is if you want to find out more information on any of these stats, you can click on the eye icon, and then it actually breaks everything down so you can see what the average is for yourself and what you should be aiming for, and actually understand what these metrics actually mean. So a nice touch from Coros. And if you want to see any of those data fields in even more detail, you can just click on them, and then it goes landscape and gives you a full screen view of all the data as big as you can see it. Then the next tab goes onto your own personal profile, where you can look at customizing your own workout programs, look at all your training plans, look at your navigation route library, which you can save from previous runs that you've recorded on the watch, which is a really nice touch. Muscle heat maps for working on different zones of your body, and then all your records in there too, as well as a whole load of goals that you can achieve in there too, which is just a nice fun touch. And then you move on to the final device tab, which is all the connectivity and stuff you can change with the watch itself. So this is the screen where you can customize the watch and what it shows you as well. So if we go into customization, you can change the workout menu and add and remove different activities just simply from the ones that you're going to be using the most. And then you can go into the toolbox mode and basically do the same. So you can just streamline your menu. So if you know that you're not going to use one of these options, for example, you can just remove it from the watch itself. And then if you want to add it back in later, you can just add it back in the app here as well. Another nice thing that I didn't work out straight away when I had the watch is that you can have pre-installed watch faces on the watch itself, but then there's actually more you can download in this watch face section here, and then you can install them to the watch itself, which just gives you that little bit more flexibility with how the watch face looks, as well as updating it if you get bored with the one that you've got at the moment. So now let's have a look at the activity profiles that you can use when using the watch. So you click down in the wheel to access the activities, and then you can scroll through running, indoor running, track running, which comes with a really nice new feature. And obviously you want to get really accurate data for this, so you can choose the actual individual lane that you're training in. So it's going to combine that data with the GPS data to give you a super consistent, accurate lap time, which is going to be really good for those training days. It's also got bike tracking, indoor bike tracking, pool swimming, open water, triathlon, strength, gym cardio, GPS cardio, rowing, indoor rowing, flat water training, and then your training plan in there as well. I probably should have mentioned this at the start of the video rather than at the end, but a really nice feature of the watch is the way it unlocks. And this might sound like a really simple thing, but with a lot of other smartwatches, it can actually be quite annoying. Either the unlock functionality can be a little bit cumbersome to use every time you get into the watch, or if it's touchscreen, the watch can actually go haywire in the shower when it thinks that you're fiddling with the screen. But I think Coros have got it just right again, so it's just one full twist of the wheel at the top there, and then you're straight into the watch, and it hardly takes any time to get in at all, and seems to work really flawlessly. So it's just a really nice touch there from Coros. So this moves us on to when you've unlocked the phone, you get to these glance views that you can just scroll through. So you've got the active calories and target that you've burned in the day, as well as your time exercising, your max average and current heart rate, the altitude difference in your day, and as you can see, in lockdown, it's not that exciting for me. The barometric readings, the temperature readings, and then a screen that I use a lot more than I thought, which is the sunrise sunset screen. And this also shows you, more importantly, when dawn and dusk is for your activities, as well as where the sun is in the sky on the outside there, which I really like. And then one more scroll down shows your notifications, where you can click into them, scroll down, and then if you just keep clicking, it deletes them, and you can scroll through all of your current notifications, and then if you scroll down to delete all, then it completely clears all your notifications on the watch. Another nice little touch with these widgets is that you can click into them and then scroll back in time to look at all the data fields that happened before if you're interested in looking back. So that's a small overview of everything that they've managed to pack into the Pace 2. Let us know what you think to it in the comments, and if you've got anything that you want to know about the watch or the brand itself, then drop them in the comments below and we'll be sure to answer them. If you like this video and want to see more like it, then consider subscribing. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.